Alright, we're back with a TTAC14, Piggy vs. Slash. Forget what the rule set is, but let's think about the hands. Piggy has cards for each corner with an arguable double up in 3. I do like that those two cards have different weaknesses on the backside. I think that's useful. The 5873 and 5378 I don't think are an incredible combination, but they're probably okay. They don't get near the power of a pair, though. Slash's hand has 2 straightforward pairs and then an extra card for 9. In the past, he has usually doubled up on his extra corner with a second card for a corner where he has one of his high levels. So this looks a little different from him. I'm not sure if the 6548 covers all that much difference than the 7648. Seems a little redundant. Overall, my quick impression is probably a bias towards Slash's hand. I like that the 65A8 has really good recaptures on the A854, but I'm not sure, and first turn is an advantage. How well does he have the corners covered? Because, like, 8A3, 5, and 7, if Titus is forced in 4, there's a combo back, but here 6548 is relevant because 5873 can get comboed back by it. So that actually probably is sufficient coverage. In general, I don't think you want to use the 10s that early because I believe the stips stop you from having multiple double numbers. 10s are going to play really strong. They're going to be really, really difficult to take. And you probably don't want to waste it on a corner that isn't actually fully safe. Slash's hand is pretty good at taking 8s, making the 5873s not that amazing as tools, but I think maybe you could do something like 5378 and 1. That creates a real threat to stick something in 2 because Slash's only capture from 4 A854, you have such a good recapture and 7 with 8A35. Right, he does do one of the 8s outfacing. I had started to think the 7s outfacing were better because it's just harder for Slash's hand, I think, to take 7s than to take 8s. So, and I also wanted to get rid of one of the doubled corners in the hand. So I had been thinking 5, 3, 7, 8, and 1. But either way, I like the idea of using a weaker card from the hand, typing in the move. At some point, I'll probably bring up solver stuff out of curiosity, but oops, did not mean to send you over to that. Let's pull you back. No, where are we? Here you go. Okay, sorry about that. Not trying to show you my not particularly good quip in the Discord. Okay, I know Slash likes to take things, and I like to consider taking things. Same wall, I believe, is on. Yep, all relevant rules are on. So you have the capture with Titus, which you probably don't want to use. But the recaptures are non-trivial for Piggyman, right? 537A walks into a same wall that looks scary, at least. And 379A gets a big card out of the opponent's hand. And also limits their ability to go down. So you could follow up with something in 9, say, and say you have this 8A35 and this 953A that are just garbage for the rest of the game. So I actually think Titus in 8 is a perfectly decent move. If we look at captures in 4, Piggy has a pretty good recapture in Odin in 8. And you don't really have a pleasant way to set up against that. But I think Titus 8 is a reasonable move. I also think it makes a lot of sense to go... I mean, you kind of have freedom to go anywhere, but Yeah, I think you have a lot of freedom to do whatever you want here. I'm not sure what it is you should want to do. Probably create something a little difficult for Piggy to take. I like the look of 8. I think that's low risk and pretty strong. I also think 5, 8, 7, 6 in 1 might be compelling. Not sure on that. I like that it covers, 3, 7, 9, and 3. Not that that's all that relevant. And I don't see that there's a particularly good thing to put in 4 there. The thing you'd want to put in 4 is probably Odin, but the combo goes through 7. I'd probably play in 1 or 8 here. He goes 5. Now, I think Piggy does like to go in 3 here. But looking at it for a sec, this looks pretty reasonable for Slash. There's a same wall in 6 that could be sometimes relevant. But there's not a card from Piggy's hand I particularly want to drop in 3. There's an argument for make it a side-to-side game, but it's very hard for Slash to lose when A854 in 4 is both the same and has a 10 out that's safe. So I don't think this is a position where Piggy can have great ambitions. So maybe you want to get rid of that square. So what if you played 9, 5, 3, 8, and 4? Slash's only capture in 8 is still 6, 5, A8. Maybe not 9, 5, 3, 8. Maybe you go, you don't have a great card to stick there. I want to keep 8, A, 3, 5 to combo back and be safe taking back against Titus. But 9, 5, 3, 8 just gives them 5, 8, 7, 6. Maybe you don't have a way to do it. Maybe you do, though, because you have random threats at the end, right? You've got big combo potential in 8. If you could build combo potential in a second square, but maybe you just can't. Yeah. I want to block 4 here because I think Slash's play in 8 is pretty bad, but I don't think there's a way to block 4 that has good play against 1. Sort of the 5, 8, 7, 6, and 1 idea I was thinking about first turn, relevant here too. I don't know. I think this is a tricky spot for Pigs, actually. I think it's weird because I think like 8A35 is really critical in a bunch of lines, but also any square except for those squares is so bad. But maybe like 9, 5, 3, 8, and 4 is still good. 9, 5, 3, 8, and 4, they go in 1, you play an 8. It's 5, 5. You have pretty reasonable cards. Maybe you do 5, 3, 7, 8. Maybe you keep 9, 5, 3, 8. Yeah, I think so. I think like 5, 3, 7, 8, and 4. Something takes it in 1. No, let's say 9, 5, 3, 8, and 4. 5, 8, 7, 6, 1. Odin 8. It's 5, 5. If they go in 2, you can go in 9 and tie. So it's hard to lose that. Yeah, I think that's a pretty clean path to a tie. I think Piggy will go for a messier path to a tie, but I would feel under pressure here. I would not like my position here. All right, Piggy goes with the move I'd make. That's kind of nice to see. Just because I think it's a good move. I think it clarifies and also speaks to 4 was a really good square for slash. We remove it from the board. You don't leave good. I like the principle of finding ways to not leave good squares for your opponent on the board. And I also like not flipping 7 so that if you combo through 5, you don't get comboed back really hard. Right? The problem with like 5, 3, 7, 8 is if they take and you at some point combo back through 5, they might hit you somewhere else, like 2, where Titus will always have the plus wall. So I think this will be a tie. That is what I predict in all my, let's call it wisdom. And I should start inputting more of the game. So 6, 5, 4, 8, 5, 9, 5, 3, 8, 4. I'm curious what Monsieur Solver has to say about the opening stuff. I kind of don't want to know the current position. I want to know past positions. So slash had 6, 5, 4, 8, 7, 6, 4, 8, A8, 5, 4, 6, 5, A8, 5, 8, 7, 6. And Piggy has 5, 8, 7, 3, 5, 3, 7, 8, 3, 7, 9A, 9, 5, 3, 8, and 8A, 3, 5. Because last time I checked moves, it was just like, no, all your moves are bad. They made better moves. Or all your moves are a little worse, maybe not terrible. So I wanted to play 5, 3, 7, 8, and 1. I'm going to keep you on the actual game. And Piggy played 5, 8, 7, 3, and 7. Based on early returns, the solver thinks neither is doing a whole lot, but we'll see what it comes out with in a minute. Takes a while to do, for move 1. Takes a whole lot of time to do for move 0, but takes a bit to do for move 1, especially when we've got other things going on in the computer, like the whole recording thing, which, takes CPU, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it thinks slash is either way under really low pressure. Clearly, it's going to be low pressure for both, so we're not going to wait for that to finish. I wanted to meet the starter with 5, 8, 7, 6 in 1 as one idea, which would have given, maybe it's just a really tie-ish rule set. That would have given 4 losses. That's not very many. Okay, my idea was low pressure. One of my ideas, I had 2. Slash's other move. Slash's move, about half of Piggy's moves lost, just under half moves. That's a reasonable play. And my other idea of Titus and 8, which is probably what I would have gone with. Now, the thing about captures is often the solver will tell you, oh, most moves lose against this. And you'll go, okay, but what about the recaptures? And they'll go, oh, all the recaptures tie. So 18 moves lost there, but that doesn't mean it's a higher pressure move against Titus capturing immediately in 8. Interestingly, 5, 3, 7, 8, and 4 walking into the same wall is actually a tie. I don't think humans would really play that way. 3, 7, 9A in 4 is also a tie, but a pretty narrow path where you have to find like a move in 2 after. Yeah, okay, so this is a lot of pressure against any move in 4. What about moves in 9? 9, 5, 3, 8, and 9 might be pretty good. Got a couple L's. Yeah, but probably not super high pressure. Okay, so what has happened in the game? Titus in 8. This is not what I was expecting. I sort of stopped looking because I'd already looked at the position. But Titus in 8. So maybe he decided 5, 8, 7, 6, and 1 was really bad. Oh! I think Piggy could just go 6 there. If Slash had gone in 1, Piggy goes 6, he combos everything. And I was thinking Titus 2 always has the combo back, but that's really well covered by 5, 3, 7, 8. I can actually check that. Oh, just failed to load. Sorry about that. What's happening? Okay, we're back. All right. It says, yeah, that move was losing, and it was to Odidn't 6. Okay, so Slash, really good job avoiding what potentially looked appealing. It says there were no moves in 1 that tied, so really good move by Pigs. Slash goes in 8. Now, the obvious thing to do for Pigs, I think, is to go 9. But maybe then you can go 1, now that the Odin threat is off the board. Note that 5, 3, 7, 8 also has the plus wall in 6, though a less useful version, because it's so much easier to combo back. So if Odin 9, then say 5, 8, 7, 6, 1. So Odin 9 puts Piggy up 6, 4. And 5, 8, 7, 6, 1 makes it 5, 5. Is there a win there? Actually, you probably do it A8, 5, 4. You got to keep some down power. So A8, 5, 4, 1. Hadn't realized fully that Titus was out of the hand because I got distracted by looking at other things on the solver. So Odin 9, A8, 5, 4, 1, 3, 7, 9, 8, 2, and then 7, 6, 4, 8, and 6 is a tie. If 5, 3, 7, 8, 6, 5, 8, 7, 6, 2 is a tie. There's not a particularly appealing move in 3. Alright, so I think 1 is a tie against 9. I think Slash has defended this very well against a good move from Piggy. And I know I was saying Slash advantage from the start, but 5 gives tools. 5 gives tools. Alright, Piggy does go for Odin in 9. Now I'm thinking A8, 5, 4 to 1. Turn off the solver now. Should have turned it off earlier to get my own analysis. I just like after thinking about something, seeing, what does the solver say? Dalamar is getting me the remaining cards for some closed games from TTAC so that I can better do coverage of what's the best matchup of TTAC14. And I'd like to be able to talk about the closed. I don't want it to be open only, or matchups that I either was in or saw get extra credit. Though I think both matchups I was in actually should be considered. As, maybe not the best matchups of the tournament, but top 10. At least ones that make my initial cut of ones to consider including. TTAC is going a little weird. Where's my internet? Because I have black screen. You have black screen? You also have black screen. Is it my internet? Do I have black screen everywhere? Or is it triple triad? No, other things are loading. I really hope... Did we get back? We got back. Alright, I pressed the back button a whole bunch. I feel like 150 seconds left is not the right count. I'm going to go back to watch games and then click back in. No, it was the right count. Okay. That card also is kind of funny in 3. That creates a serious threat in 6. It's a nice way to be recaptured from 2. Maybe you put it in 3. Like, I think 1's a tie, so you should play 1. But 3 is kind of goofy looking. So if 3 works, 3 is higher swag than 1. Didn't put in 6, 5, 8, 8, 8, 3, 5, 9. So actually, Piggy's move in 4 was better than I thought it was. And I think slash, because 1 actually just didn't work, and 1 looks pretty appealing to me. And so slash's move in 8 was really good survival here from a surprisingly tough position. So the card he picked up is A854, and I do kind of think that holds in 3. Because if Piggy goes 1, like 5, 3, 7, 8, and 1, because maybe not. Oh no, 3, 7, 9, 8 doesn't have to capture in 6, so it's easy to just play in 2 there to tie. We are struggling. I would not be surprised if slash times out here, because I think the server is doing badly. Let's see if pressing back a bunch can sneak in again. It did last time. No. No. Well, this would be worrying. Obviously, I can easily screenshot the position they had, and it should be a tie, and it should be a tie with the card slash picked up, possibly multiple ways. But this is a bummer. Real bummer. Huh. Couple message. There's a message in the chat. Let's go find what it is. Nah, wrong chat. I bet there's been a timeout, and I bet both players. I don't know because I haven't been messaged by either, but I bet both players are aware that this should be a tie, and that slash picked up the best card to do so. But that's a shame. This probably cuts this video short. I'm going to pause the video, and if for you the video ends, then just assume that there was in fact a timeout, but that it's almost certainly a draw, a tie. But if we do come back, maybe we'll have more to see. And we're back. It looks like both players recognize the last position was indeed a tie. It also looks like Piggy Man has moved on to the one-based hand that a bunch of, that specifically both Tezuka and Aesela started on. They both kind of had found the same attempted hole in the exploit, and they played very similar hands to this, because it's one of those things where you can only use a certain 6 numbers in your hand, maybe A 9 8 7 6 1, yeah, and you have to use each some number of times, and 1 seems a neat number to do that with. Slash is stuck with the same hand. How does this line up for pigs? Well, first of all, Larsa is not handled by Slash's hand. So if Piggy was doing a skim of like, what can Slash's hand take? Like, what kind of A9s give trouble, right? The A needs to be up or down for it to be safe. So an A9 in 1 must be 9 right, A down. Nope, that's covered. A9 in 3 must be A down, 9 left. That looks pretty good. A9 in 9 must be A up, 9 left. That's covered. So A9 for either 3 or 7 makes some sense. Curious to combine Larsa with A861, just given that they're somewhat redundant in value. Didn't notice that for a second. 2 1s to the left also gives me a little pause. But Larsa is just safe. Is it set upable against? Very easily. For instance, Titus in 5 gives Silver Dragon both sides. So you really, it's going to be good at some point, but I do not think it's what you should start with. Especially because I think one of the advantages of kind of mid-high corners over high corners is it's much easier for you to at some point play next to your mid-high corner without being susceptible to combos. If you're going to concede big combos, you kind of want those to be on lower numbers facing out, because it's just easier for you to play around, in my opinion. But I have some good opinions. That said, 1789 in 3 is also quite difficult for Slash's hand to touch. And I note that the only capture of it, A854, is comboable back by 6178, that in turn is comboable back, but it means that can sit in the air for a bit and maybe be a powerful effect for later. 7687. Now, it feels weird to me to start in 7 when I have 2 corner cards for 7, arguably 3 with this one. Man, I like the A1 idea. I like the ones in the hand idea. I'm not sure I like this execution at all. The Tezuka Asala match. Tezuka used A169. They both used A169 and Larsa. And that makes a little more sense to me than Graf and Larsa. It's not like a perfect pairing, but the 9, 9 is better than 8. Now here, yeah, neither the 8 or the 9 plays all that well against Slash's hand, pretty well covered. But this feels to me like I don't want the game to be going down left. So, like, what happens if Slash takes it? I don't know. Say Silver Dragon. Silver Dragon takes. Kind of would guess Piggy's intending Larsa 9. Maybe that's okay. Maybe like 8, 5, 4, 4, you can just block 5 with 1, 7, 8, 9. You're not conceding much. So maybe that's just okay. It feels to me like a concession. Now, what do we think Slash is going to do? We know Slash likes going in 5. So I would not be surprised by like 6, 5, 4, 8, and 5. But I don't think that's the case here. I think he liked 5 because it gave him such a good play in 4. Lurset is a very powerful card. I wonder if there's say 6, 5, 4, 8, and 8, Larsa in 9. Can you play 5, 8, 7, 6, and 5? My point is, I threaten the same in 6, and I think that's fairly scary. And if you can play a plus wall in 6, but A8, 5, 4 plus walls back in 4 pretty safely. So I kind of like the idea of 6, 5, 4, 8 taking an 8. I feel like Piggy has to be pretty careful there. The one downside of it versus Silver Dragon is the 6 facing up is weaker against Piggy's hand, right? 6, 1, 7, 8 can take it, while it could not take a 7 up. So potentially Piggy can get away with just going 1, 7, 8, 9 in 4 against that, just recapturing 9. then what can slash do? No, that might be okay. Piggy's cards, like Larsa's going to be weirdly dominant even on the top row against Slash's hand, right? Slash's hand is a little weaker side to side, and so when the 10 can touch a wall, it just sweeps the hand. So Piggy probably can just take back and 4 there, right? He picks up a 5-4. Is he intending to go 4? I thought about that briefly, but I wasn't sure it was okay to be that capturable, as it were. It's probably fine here. Again, I like the idea of making the game down left. I think it can be easy to overrate the value of that because Larsa does just sweep you on the top. But at this moment, Piggy can't really play Graph in 8. And so how do you get Graph out of your hand? It's also, maybe you can play Graph in 1. No, then there's 6-5-4-8 to capture. I was thinking if they have to capture with Titus, then that gives you the play in 5, either a same or a plus. But they can do it with 6-5-4-8. Yeah. I think Slash is playing this well. I think he's correctly saying you don't want the game to be about power down left. And also your power facing out from this isn't quite good enough, right? No, he didn't play 8. Now 8, it would be easier to play 1, 7, 8, 9, and 9, of course. But even ignoring that, it would let Piggy use a 10 out if he wanted it, right? It gives free safety in a way that going 4 doesn't. Also, 4 is the square. Slash is much less play than 8, so it makes, to me, much more sense to go in 4 than 8. So I think this is logical. Apologies if my volume changes. Sometimes I lean back, sometimes I lean forward. I'm not set up in a particularly comfortable place at the moment. Oh, I wanted to say, I think 6, 1, 7, 8, and 8 might be the move here. Even though it keeps Graph in your hand. From Piggy's favorite game, Xenogears. Little known fact, but really likes that game. But what was I gonna? Oh yeah, there was a position from AI King the other day where there was a really interesting position with cards that didn't happen in the game but could have, with cards in 1, 4, 8, and 9. And we had the cards in 1 and 4. The opponent has the cards in 8 and 9. And a move in was it the other way around? No, I think it was that. A move in 7 seemed really appealing. But when I sent the picture to a chat, Piggy very quickly saw that 7 is appealing, but there's actually a rejoinder in 3, setting up some wild combo potential, and he correctly noted that meant 7 didn't win. And that led him to finding the solve, which was to block 3 to threaten 7, blocking 3 while setting up some combos himself. Really nice move, really smartly figured out. Piggy is playing awesome at the moment. But I think I would prefer to be Slash here. I think the A1 hand is a good idea on this rule set. But I also don't think you want quite that many corners for the same corner. So one thing that was interesting was A9, 1, 8, and 7 was really well covered by a setup in 5. I didn't check if there was more than one setup. I don't, but there isn't. Yeah, there just isn't. But there is the one setup with Titus in 8 that's very annoying. So my thought was, there's the A9 corner in 3. Does that have a similar setup? You know, it's hard to quickly rejigger your hand on such a highly specced rule set, highly stiffed rule set, which is potentially a weakness on these rule sets, is if you spot a weakness, it's hard to adjust into it. But if an A9 corner was placed in 3 with the A down and the 9 left, what could Slash's hand do against it? A8, 5, 4, and 5. Still a setup. Yeah. 6, 5, 4, 8. Maybe that's what Slash was thinking with the 7, 6, 4, 8 and the 6, 5, 4, 8 was how to cover all the 10s. And he saw that combo potential and the 9s. So this was not the card I expected to go in 5, but I also hadn't realized it set up a same, that it certainly does set up. My instinct is 5, 8, 7, 6, and 5, but I think my instinct is not amazing here. Because I think that can be met by 6, 1, 7, 8, and 9. And the problem is, while Titus had coverage of anything in 9, it can be comboed back by Graph. And that position looks quite dangerous. Because you're really swept on the side. If Graph can find use and the top row remains open. So maybe you want to block the top row, but that's really difficult to do. Oh no, now this looks really dangerous for Slash to me. You know what's a funny move? Not a good move, though. No, not a good move. 5, 8, 7, 6, and 6 was my idea. When Titus is both 5 and 9. But Titus doesn't really have 5. It doesn't work. Because Graph into does combo it back and you don't have a response combo. Oh. This is dangerous. I didn't realize how dangerous it was. Now, I would have gone in 8 rather than 4, I think. And that would not have walked into this same annoying 5, same threat in 5. I think this is really dangerous. I think if there's a straightforward tie, it's probably Silver Dragon 9. It's hard to imagine a move other than Larsa 5 there. So Piggy will lead 6-4. And you really need a big setup. So you really need Titus in 3 to work there. But I think it might. Silver Dragon 9, Larsa 5. No, we've already used Silver Dragon, so Titus isn't a setup. What am I doing? What am I doing? Okay, in that case, 6, 5, 4, 8, 9. The nice thing about that is it combos, so it really incentivizes Piggy to combo back in 5. So Piggy leads 6-4, and then you play Titus in 3, but no, then Graph is set up too well. Because Graph is really good play in both 2 and 6, so it's easy for Piggy to play 1 there. Well, I don't think I'm going to see a tie within the time limit here. That certainly doesn't mean there isn't one, but I don't think I'm going to see it. I think you should leave 9 open, because threats there are your only serious counter to 5. I think maybe chuck something in 1. I think that's the best chance. Chuck something in 1, say they're not so great going left. I don't know though. He chucked something in 3. That's a similar concept. I am curious about the eval here, so I think it's time to start moving to Monsieur Solver. I'll try not to immediately spoil, but our evaluation, mine and yours, of course, because you've been evaluating along with me, I think is that Slash is in a great deal of trouble. And the question is, can Piggy win? With a starter I didn't like at all. which is always cool, because it probably just means I really misevaluated. Okay. So I put in the hands. Where did this game go so wrong? So notes something pretty important. Slash has 2 ways to combo in 9. And Piggy does not have a way to combo back either, even after he goes in 5. He also has anything put in 9 covered. So I think Slash did something very clever here. And if he survives, this was not, a random move to survive. So I wanted to play in 8. I wanted to go like 6, 5, 4, 8, and 8. And it'll take a little while evaluating that. Looks like my move's okay. My move's fine. Looks like it doesn't lose, but not particular pressure. Okay. Not the most exciting option. Slash went in 4. And we'll let it think for a bit. I haven't really actually properly thought about what Piggy should do. 5 doesn't work. 5 is comboed back pretty hard. Alright, it thinks Slash's move a touch better than mine, though it doesn't mean it's easier to tie from. Piggy goes in 8. Now, most moves tie against 8, so I clearly way overvalued how much pressure Slash was under. That seems so unlikely, though. Like, is it just all the weird moves tied and all the normal moves lose? Alright, I'm just checking what happens on moves in 9. All moves in 9, it looks like, lose to Larsa 5. That makes sense. Except 5, 8, 7, 6 weirdly tied in 9. Huh. I also wanted to chuck like 6, 5, 4, 8, and 1. Apparently that ties. 7, 6, 4, 8, and 1. Apparently that tied. 5, 8, 7, 6, and 1 loses. Alright, so it seems like a lot of the moves were really uncomfortable but not losing. But we don't know whether Slashes was one of those. So this is one of those positions where the solver says this was not particular pressure. And I really disagree. I think this is a really tough position for Slash. And I think that he played in 3 is indicative of that. I don't want to know yet whether 3 is losing or tied, so I have not checked. I don't see the win for Piggy. Now, I've mostly been staring at the solver like an incompetent commentator. But I would be tempted to play Graph in 9. If Silver Dragon 8, I think you just win with Larsa 5, right? If anything, sorry, not 8, 6. If anything 6, you're just winning with Larsa and 5. If they block 5, I guess you don't. Maybe it's worth keeping Graph because it has so much combo potential against all those 8s. So okay, let's say 6, 1, 7, 8, 9. Point is to meet anything in 9 and 5, anything in 6 and 5, anything in 5 with Larsa and 6. He goes Graph 6. Alright. Now, it's 6-4 Piggy. Here's my question. What if Silver Dragon 5? It's 6-4, but if you play Larsa 9 to make it 6-4 Piggy, I have 6, 5, 4, 8, and 2, and I tie. If you go Stupid Frog 5, then it's 5, 5, so I go 2 and I tie. Doesn't matter that you take 1 back. If you go 2, you don't do anything, and you don't set up anything. I go 9. And if you go 1, and have Larsa left, what's it doing? If you go 1 and have Frog left, what's it doing? So I think Silver Dragon 5 is a tie here. So I guess we'll find out, did Piggy miss a win, or did Slash find a really nice save in 3? Or am I just wrong, which is also easily the case. Alright. The solver says Slash's move completely losing. I wanted 6, 1, 7, 8, and 9, which was a win for Piggy. Yeah. It says there are 2 other wins for Piggy, though. So that one, he didn't play. It said Larsa in 5 was a win. Now, I thought that didn't work because Slash combos back. But I missed that 6, 1, 7, 8 has coverage of all the 6s up. So you can go 5 because Slash doesn't have 9, and you keep 6, 1, 7, 8 for your last card. And yeah, because Slash has no captures except for... Slash has to play 9 at some point because he has no captures anywhere else. So that was a win. Now the final win was in 6. Was it A8, 6, 1, and 6? It was not. The final win was the weird 6, 1, 7, 8, and 6. So Larsa in 5 I should have calculated out and did win. I did check the move in 9, and that also won. But here, there are 3 ties. They are in 1 and 5. Is Silver Dragon in 5 a tie? It is, yeah. So I think Slash will survive this. I think Piggy does such a marvelous job of making positions much better than I think they were. Like, I thought Slash's position after 4 was good. I guess I just missed the same in 5 after 8. But suddenly I thought Slash's position was pretty dire. Slash did not find a way to hold it. But he did complicate enough here. He did complicate enough. But I really... Is he going to find the tie I did? I really find it remarkable how much pressure Piggy gets out of positions that look to me like slight advantage. Because last game, after 9 and then 5, I thought I would play in 4, but I would play in 4 kind of hoping to tie. And he played in 4, and suddenly... I mean, hoping to, like, just lock in a tie. Not like I'm scared, but in a, like, okay, I get at least a tie, probably no more. But it turned out it was quite a bit more. And this game, Piggy, again, made somewhat conventional moves, nothing too out of the ordinary, but I thought Slash did something reasonable, and then I thought Slash was just under enormous pressure. The solver disagrees, but the solver is more comfortable with messiness than humans, of kind of lots of cards that are easy to take but work out. And it's one of those ones where 12 moves tie, but I guess if you give it a move further, you have to see a very specific line in each one. And the opponent also has lots of options, so you have to see a lot of narrow lines to play any one of them, and it's actually really difficult to do. So I don't blame it all Slash for 3, and, you know, Piggy did a great job amassing pressure there, but did not find the conversion. Shame he converted so well against me. Maybe that's actually a sign, though. I think that's potentially a weakness in my game. And one that I can't use the AIs to help me much with, actually, interestingly. But I think some people are better at complicating from bad positions than others. And I think when I go down, I often just go down without making it all that tricky. I remember a game against Akiyama I was kind of displeased with. I had a really horrible hand, and he started with a corner I couldn't really deal with. And I had a setup in 5, and I saw it didn't work. But I thought, if he doesn't see the reason it doesn't work, then I'm okay. So I kind of took this big swing of, like, my position could be fine in a move, or it's just lost immediately, right? And I polarized the range. I made it like some percentage chance that I'm just A-okay, and some percentage chance that I'm horribly busted. All right, we got to get the last few moves of the game. So Piggy went A8616, Slash went 76485, Piggy went 61789, Slash went 65482, Piggy will go A9181, probably already has, but we haven't reloaded, and Slash will have Titus remaining. Oh, big miss for Piggy. Big miss for Piggy here. Could have closed it out. What was I saying? Oh yeah. So I took this big swing, and he just like took 20 seconds and played the right move, and I was like, oh, that was a terrible swing. You know, I saw the problem quickly. He's gonna see the problem just as quickly, and I should have done a move that didn't clarify the position. Fundamentally, I should have done what Slash did here, right? I should have done something distant that creates some combo potential against some potential stuff. And when checking the game over after, I was trying to find what could I have done better, because it turns out I was lost for move 1. If Akiyama makes no mistakes, I do lose the game. But that doesn't mean I should lose that position every time, even to someone as good as Akiyama. And I ended up, you know, one move in, I had no more tricks, right? I played one trick, and he saw it, and that was it. There was no game left. And I should have done something where he had to make more than one good move in a row. And like, his other moves were good, but his other moves were easily calculable. You know, it just clearly, once he's made that move, he's seen that it looks like I have one trick against his move, but I don't. It didn't work. And if he makes that move, he's obviously seen that the trick doesn't work, and then when I play that trick, he dodges said trick, and I lose. So, like, technically he has to make, 2 good moves, but if he's made one of them, he's seen the other. And I think I could have had much better chance to survive if I had made some distant, slightly complicating move that keeps the game vague. And I think that's something a bunch of players, Akiyama, Delial, maybe Slash here, though I'm not sure this was the greatest instance. I think it kind of did the right things, but lost to too many replies. In specific, I think there are a bunch of players who are better at doing that than me. And also, I remember when I was keeping stats early on, these were just from random games, I think. I was really good at getting pressure. I achieved a lot of winning positions in open, but not more than anyone. Delial, for instance, achieved more winning positions at a higher rate than me. He was playing better in the early game. And I converted a lot of my winning positions. And I probably converted at a higher rate. I don't remember exactly. But I converted at a rate basically as high as anyone else. So I get winning positions at a good rate. I convert at a very high rate. And then there was how often do you get losing positions? And my main feature was myself and Piggy, actually, were the two players that in random games for the first few months, and this was a big sample of games, this was 30 to 100 games depending on the player I looked at, were achieving lost positions the lowest frequency of anyone. But one thing interesting about me, and this was a small sample, because again, I wasn't getting lost positions very often, I was playing really well then, was when I did get lost positions, I lost them every time, or at a higher rate. And there were other players who their losses, like Turds, actually was a good example of someone who had gotten more lost positions, but was not losing all that many of them. And there were a bunch of players that stood out. I don't remember now, and it's been a while since I've looked at that spreadsheet. But I thought it was interesting. And I don't know, I shouldn't be talking about me so much, but there was the thing of Piggy, actually. The stats on Piggy were very interesting. Really fantastic pressure off the opening play. Really often was rated by the system I used as the best starting player on the site. Really good at creating winning positions. Really good at avoiding losing positions. Not very good at converting winning positions for a top-tier player. And that fits what we saw here, and I actually kind of thought, looking at it, he must be getting unlucky. His closing out rate is so low, and his ability to achieve winning positions is so high. I think this is like soccer, where the ability to create chances is worth more than the ability to convert chances, which a lot of people think is alien. But if you take people that are converting chances at a very high rate and not getting many and try to predict, you will find they won't get many chances in the future still. That'll be more consistent, and they'll stop converting them at such a high rate, and they'll probably come down to earth. But a player who's creating a ton of chances, if they're not converting many of them at the moment, they'll probably start converting a fairly normal rate and end up looking like a really high goal scoring threat. There are some exceptions here, but generally speaking, the ability to create chances in games I tend to trust as more reliable than the ability to convert. And so I assumed Piggy would start winning more games, and he actually did, and that's when I stopped keeping track of stuff. But it is clearly a trait of his. He is not. He is fantastic at achieving stuff. So he says, that felt like such a strong position. I'm convinced there was a win after his move in 3, but didn't find one. We're going to pick it up tomorrow. So we're going to stop there. I think both players played pretty well here. I think that was a surprisingly difficult position for Slash. I did not expect it to be anywhere near as tough, and I thought it was really, really dangerous. And the solver's like, no big deal, but like, solver can screw itself. I think in practice that was a really tough position. I don't blame him for playing a losing move. And I think Piggy showed what he's really good at and where he gives ground to the very top players. But also where he doesn't, where he's just is as good as anyone, is kind of doing the right things early, setting up his cards the right way. With moves that can strike me as not fitting his hand. This is something Akiyama does as well, actually, is they're both players that are less concerned with directionality than I am. They're better at having a sense of when their cards will or won't be relevant, whether or not they face the action. And that's very interesting. That's something I'd like to work on. You know, understanding, for instance, and it was pretty clear pretty early, but that, like, Larso was completely dominant against Slash's hand, right? Completely dominant side to side on the top row. So it might be safe and really good on the bottom, but it would also play really well on the top. And it could also be set up for 5. You know, spotting things like that is really useful and something I think the next time I try to get really good at TTA, I would like to work on.